Hey friends, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the things that nobody tells you about living at Lake of the Ozarks. So the good, the bad, everything in between. We want to share a few things for you to think about, consider if you're looking to purchase, move, relocate, whatever. We want to share some insight on what it's like to live here. Again, good, bad. We just did a retirement video, and with that, I think this would be a good follow-up, right? So retirement has a little, pros and cons for being down here, but just if you're not retiring and you're looking to move here full time, you could probably shoot maybe 4 or 5 of these videos. So with that, I just wanted to share a couple things for you to think about, and kind of consider when you're moving here. And I think one of the main ones that I wanted to touch off right off the bat, because it actually surprises people more than you would think. And that's the kind of terrain that you're moving to. Lake of the Ozarks from a distance, when you're Googling and researching and just looking at pictures and stuff, it has a perspective. And then when you get here, you're like, okay, that's not quite what I was thinking or what I thought or what I was feeling. One of those things comes with the terrain. Like at the end of the day, guys, this is just a big ass lake in the middle of nowhere. And so you don't have kind of flat surfaces. You do, but for the most part, this is a man-made dammed lake, reservoir, whatever, flooded the Ozark mountain range. And so if you think about that, everything is hilly and steep and curvy. If you've ever driven into the mountains, you know what that's like, right? So think about it. They just kind of flooded it up with water, but the rest of it that's above water is all the same terrain. And so if you're moving here, relocating, retiring, whatever, you got to understand that this is not a suburban, big city kind of world. There's no gridded patterns. There are flat surfaces, but for the most part, driving around and just living around the lake, you are going to deal with steep terrain, right? The majority of the driveways are very steep. The roads can be very steep. That can have an impact on how you feel about driving and commuting. If you have to drive around this area, you got to drop your kiddos off at school, you have to drive to work, you have to go to the store frequently, like you're going to have to deal with those elements. There is no way around it. It kind of is what it is. So it catches a lot of people by surprise because you don't see that very well. Like even in some of the B-roll that you're looking at now, like you can't really tell too much how steep they are until you actually get here and you point your vehicle down a driveway or you climb out of one or you're driving around the road. So anyway, at the end of the day, you're in the middle of the woods, you're in the middle of the Ozark mountain range, and obviously with that comes steep terrain, curvy roads, gravel. It can make it tricky living and just commuting around this area. All right, and because you are living in a remote area, mountainous range, forest, you're going to deal with nature and everything that comes with nature. So number one, back to driving around, you're going to keep your head on a swivel because not only is it going to be steep and curvy and all that stuff, but then you're going to have the wildlife that's going to be running out into the middle of the road too. So you're going to deal with deer and things that'll run across the road, all kinds of critters, creatures, stuff like that. You're going to have nature coming out of the woods into your world. You're also going to deal with bugs, right? I've talked about it plenty of times on this channel. The bug game down here is next level. And so you're going to want to have a bug guy that kind of takes care of your property and sprays. You're going to want to power wash and clean and spray and do that all summer long, because if you're not comfortable with nature and wildlife and animals and bugs and creepy crawlies and spiders, this might not be the place for you. You might want to find some area that doesn't have that, because we didn't really know that when we moved. And I don't think that the homeowners took care of the property as well as we do, but we were shocked by the amount of bugs and spider webs and just stuff at our property. It wasn't until we got a good power wash on the whole thing. And again, you're gonna want a bug guy. So he'll come out and spray your property, spray your yard, put some oils on the dock, stuff like that. But the concept or the understanding is big lake, flooded the Ozark mountain range. Everything is trees, it's hilly, it's curvy, it's steep. You got Mother Nature, you got wildlife, you got animals, you got bugs. You gotta deal with all that stuff. On the flip side to that, if you're in suburban land right now and you have concrete jungles and you're dealing with city life and all the nonsense of city life sometimes, like this is a nice separation, because once you get past some of those things, if they are concerns, then you also realize that you are living remotely and you are in nature. And I think with that comes a lot of beauty, right? At the end of the day, this is a beautiful place to live. And if we can get you on the water, and you can wake up every morning with a sunrise, and you can go to bed with a sunset, and you can look over the rolling hills and the big body of water, like what a great place to live. And I think the more we talk to people outside of retiring in this world, you're looking to create a new lifestyle for you and your family. You can change things up a little bit. You can work remotely, and by working remotely, it gives you the ability to live wherever you want, and maybe you want to put your family into more of a nature environment and a lake life environment and some of those things. And so pros and cons, whatever that looks like, again, I always encourage you to come down and check it out. So come into town, drive around, let us show you what that looks like. Maybe you can answer those questions for yourself. So because this is just a big body of water and kind of the middle of nowhere, it does draw a lot of attraction. There is a lot of outside influence and tourism that comes into this area. You probably know that a lot of people like to take their vacations there. They'll come in from St. Louis or Kansas City, or they'll drive in from the surrounding areas, and they'll hang out for a week or a long weekend. You're gonna have that influx of tourism. Those spring, summer, fall months, those peak seasons, that Memorial Day to Labor Day, you will have this influx of tourism come into the area. That's a big economic boom to the community here and kind of what we live off of. And so that's a good thing. But when you're living here locally, you have to understand that there is gonna be some riffraff. There is gonna be some bad choices and decisions. There are people who come into the area and maybe don't respect it as much as those of us that live here. And so just something to think about, right? It kind of takes me back to, college. Like, you live in a college town and you have this influx of kids that come in for school and then they leave during the summer months. It's kind of the same concept. And so tourism is good for the economy down here, but you also might have to deal with some knuckleheads along the way. At the end of the day, you can avoid those things and you can live your life around it. But with that influx, it will clog things up, right? It'll clog up the roadways a little bit more traffic, a little more congestion in your restaurants and in your retail spaces and grocery stores. That's just part of it. It is what it is. Mainly gonna see a lot of that influx on the weekends, dies down a little bit during the week. Holiday weekends are bonkers, dies down a little bit during the week. And then obviously off peak season, you get back to the normal kind of local life. One of those things with being off season, as you enjoy bars and restaurants and your certain lakefront activities, those establishments are probably gonna shut down during the winter time. And so as you live here locally, full-time, year-round, you'll realize this influx of tourism and all these establishments will open up and it'll run hot all summer long, and then obviously slowly start to die off and close down after Labor Day. So hey, it's a tourism destination, tourism area. You'll have that influx, you'll have that decrease. It's just kind of something that you navigate. So as you're navigating the summertime in tourism, right, understanding that we are gonna have 4 seasons, you are gonna have a spring, a summer, a fall, and a winter. And so understanding those 4 seasons, those could be pros and cons. You might not want to deal with the wintertime months. We talk to a lot of people, again, in retirement stage. They just want warm climate, 7 days a week, 365. That's not going to be this place. So you are going to have cold winters. You are going to have a little bit of snowfall, windy seasons, right? You're going to have some sub-zero kind of or sub-freezing temperatures. So depending on what you're looking for, just understand, like, yes, this is going to be a little bit of a warmer climate just based off of where we're at in the country. But you are still gonna have winter months. The leaves are gonna fall off the trees. You're gonna have to kind of maintain and kind of clean your property from that perspective. But with that, right, you are gonna have longer seasons. So if you enjoy being out on the water all year long, fishing all year long, golfing all year long, going into the parks, going on trails, hiking, biking, running, outdoor activities, you can clearly do that stuff all year long. Yes, you'll have your cold days. Yes, it'll be too windy once in a while. But for the most part, you can still live your outdoor lifestyle all season, all year long. A couple of just other quirky things to think about that you might not know when you move down here. Cell phone signals and Wi-Fi is a thing, right? You got to understand, again, mountainous area, hilly, steep, trees, all that kind of stuff. If you need to have a cell phone signal all the time in all 4 or 5 bars, whatever it is, then this might not be the spot for you, because you will have challenges with your cell phone signal depending on where you're at on the lake. And so if you're looking to relocate and purchase, not only do we want to help make sure you have the right location for the right reasons at the right price point and all of those things, but as we're out there touring the property for you or taking video for you, or obviously if we're opening the door for you in person, hey, let's look at our cell phones, right? And let's see if we have any bars or signals, because if you need those things, you can absolutely 1000% find a property that has 0 cell phone coverage. It is not hard to find 0 cell phone coverage. So if you need those things, then we got to get you dialed in. Wi-Fi is kind of the same way. There is a local company here. That way the hard wire is directly into the house and you can have amazing Wi-Fi coverage. But if they're not in your area, then you're going to rely on maybe a satellite service. Starlink, I've heard, is good. I haven't tried Starlink, but I hear that that's potentially a good option. But if we can find a property where you are on the road, where the hard wire goes into the house, then obviously you have Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi signal is for your home, right? So as soon as you step maybe onto your dock, or you walk up towards the road, or you go down the road, you might lose your cell phone signal again. So some things that they don't talk about or don't know about, or you realize maybe the hard way when you get here, Wi-Fi coverage and cell phone signals are a thing. So if you need that for your life or for your business, then you gotta let us help you navigate that. So hey guys, just a fun little video on some things to consider, things that they tell you or don't tell you about living in this area. You know, again, at the end of the day, mountainous area, hills, trees, steep roads, gravel, driveways are super steep. Like if you have to travel and drive around and that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, you might want to rethink it, or at least you want to come down and visit us so we can show you what that feels like, because it is not like driving in suburban land or big city world. It's going to be different. And so understanding that we're just a big lake in the middle of nowhere, a lot of nature, comes with a lot of animals and deer, comes with a lot of bugs and creepy crawlies and critters. You got to understand that world. But obviously you're all doing it for the lake lifestyle. So being able to get out on the lake pretty much all year long, dealing with a little bit of wintertime season, that's going to be a thing. Understanding that the influx of tourism during summertime is going to be a thing. Weekends, holiday weekends, it is going to be busy and packed. And so if you're here, you might want to avoid that because it will slow down during the weekdays. And so understanding all of those things, no matter where you want to find your property, single family homes, condos, you want to be in the congestion and the scene of things, or you want to be down off all that stuff and further down the lake, Wi-Fi signals, cell phone coverage is also a thing to think about and consider. So hey, there's probably 30 other things that I can share on pros and cons and things to understand. Got to keep the video kind of short. Also, just want to encourage you to call me and text me and email me. I'd love to do a Zoom call to answer more of your specific questions. Obviously, would love to have you in town so we can show you around. Whatever that looks like for you guys and what you're relocating for, permanently, vacation, second homes, we would love to help. So give me a call, shoot me a text, let's jump on a Zoom call. Whatever I can do to help you out, let me know. Until then, we'll see you guys on the next video.